It's WrestleMania season, and I can honestly say AEW, Tony Khan, and the entire team at All Elite Wrestling has perfectly counteracted all the hype going into the biggest pro wrestling show of the year by signing the three biggest free agents of 2024. Those being, of course, Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, multi-time former IWGP World Champion. They signed Mercedes Moné, multiple time women's world champion in WWE and elsewhere, and of course, signing to a full-time contract with AEW. The Billy Goat himself, Will Ospreay. All these three signings made absolute headlines for AEW in the past few weeks, leading into their next big pay-per-view, AEW Dynasty, taking place April 21st, if I'm not mistaken. And on April 21st, Will Ospreay will face off against Bryan Danielson in a dream match that I can honestly say right now, Will Ospreay is not only going to win, but it is a must-win for Will Ospreay, because he's already had quite possibly one of the, if not the match of the year for AEW and maybe even the whole pro wrestling business, when he defeated Konosuke Takeshita at Revolution. He just beat Shibata tonight on Wednesday Night Dynamite. He had incredible matches against Kyle Fletcher and against, who else? I'm forgetting the name of the other opponent he faced, but Will Ospreay's current storyline is clear as day as far as what they're trying to do with one of the best talents AEW has signed in the past 5 years. I mean, the man is only 30 years old, which means he has a ton of time left to keep building up with the company. And his very first storyline in AEW is that of proving to the entire North American audience that he is the best bell-to-bell in-ring performer currently in the business. And he's doing that by facing Kyle Fletcher, by facing Shibata, by facing Takeshita, and by challenging and agreeing to a match against the American Dragon himself, Bryan Danielson. And I'm saying Will Ospreay is not only going to win this, but it's a must-win for him, because Bryan Danielson has pretty much made himself the Shawn Michaels of AEW ever since he arrived. Has he had world title matches in the past? Absolutely. Has he been in high-profile feuds during his entire run with AEW? Of course, he is a top-level superstar. But one thing I appreciate out of him that I haven't seen from other veterans going into AEW, other former WWE superstars going into AEW, Bryan Danielson knows his value in ring-wise, and he does not need to be the face of the company. He does not need to be the top performer, the top world champion for AEW. And I'll be lying if I say it that I didn't want Bryan Danielson to be Continental Champion. I would have taken Bryan Danielson going up against Will Ospreay for the Continental Championship. Danielson, of course, challenging Ospreay, not the other way around. And Ospreay accepting it just because he wants to test himself against Bryan Danielson. And the Continental Championship is just gravy. It's just there. It's extra. So with that said, Will Ospreay will beat Bryan Danielson at Dynasty, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a rematch at Double or Nothing. There's not too many weeks to separate both pay-per-views. One's in St. Louis, one's in Vegas. That's pretty much it. 5-6 weeks in between. Okay, we can get a rematch. I wouldn't mind a rematch. Hell, I haven't even seen the match that they're gonna have at Dynasty, but best believe we're gonna want a rematch between these two men. My only qualm with this is, where do you take Will Ospreay from? Right here. Because like I said, Okada, going after a mid-card championship. He's a mid-card champion, continental champion, nothing against the title, but it's mid-card. Don't like it. Willow Nightingale is challenging Julia Hart for the TBS title, and my biggest fear is that they have Willow Nightingale beat Julia Hart to become TBS champion, and then you have Mercedes Moné target Willow Nightingale for the mid-card title that is the TBS championship. So I do not want Will Ospreay targeting the international champion Roderick Strong. Absolutely not. Adam Copeland versus Will Ospreay, is that a dream match? Absolutely. Of course I would want to watch that. But again, it has to be on the heels, on the story of Adam Copeland challenging Will Ospreay to a match and the TNT title. Again, it's just gravy. Will Ospreay is a top-level superstar, future face of the company if they commit to him. But currently, the current main event scene, Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, Adam Cole, Wardlow, MJF when he returns, it's a little bit crowded. I don't see a clear path for Will Ospreay and the World Championship. But hey, that's what creative is all about. And that's why they're in AEW. They're working that behind the scenes. And I'm over here looking from the outside in, just enjoying the product. So with that said, what are your thoughts on the dream match awaiting us at Dynasty between Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson? Do you think this eventually leads to a rematch? Do you think this will eventually lead to Will Ospreay challenging for the AEW World Championship or maybe a mid-card title? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comment section below. With that said, I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.